Edwin Van Cleef said, "None shall challenge the Brotherhood." Why should you run the Deadmines? Well, I got the gold averages to give you the answer why. I ran the Deadmines 10 times in a row to figure out if you could make gold farming this instance. The sheer number of green drops that I got caught me off guard actually. I wasn't expecting this many greens. The Black and Defias gloves, I knew they dropped, but I didn't expect to have 2 within 10 dungeon runs. I also got a parrot cage almost every single run along with 6 black water cutlasses. Made sure to open both treasure chests every single run, and that got me a whole slew of herbs and gems along with many recipes. Now this isn't everything that I got out of the 10 runs. Like I said, I had to go to the mailbox to make more bag space. For those of you who might not know, I use Loot Appraiser to get my price averages. I've entered a custom global average of 3 averages in order to get the price sources from, so that way it's a nice base level of a good estimation. Over a period of 10 runs, your average time should be about 6 minutes 45 seconds per run, and you should average 2,932 gold. That's if you get 2 Black and Defias gloves. Average run without those 2 gloves, 1,230 gold each time. I will say on my 6th dungeon run, my average gold went from 1,200 to 663 gold. So I stopped for about an hour to take a break, wondering if it would jump back up, and on the 7th run, it was at 1,377 gold. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, and I think if you're in groups, you get more loot. I also think if you keep banging dungeons out fast, your loot slowly drops. Or maybe it could just be unlucky RNG. Who knows? Here, you want to borrow my tinfoil hat? For those of you who like to roleplay with your toons or maybe share with your friends, this dungeon you can get a lot of refreshing pineapple punch for your toon to drink, so that way they can sit back and relax and enjoy something a little fruity. Kind of like a Wezeljr movie, huh? But overall, average numbers, 6 minutes and 45 seconds per run at 1,230 gold. This is definitely worth running if you're needing some quick gold, and maybe you'll get lucky and get some Black and Defias gear to drop, which are worth buku money. You ever wondered what the Deadmines instance was about? Well, here's some lore to tell you about the Defias Brotherhood and how it came to be. At the beginning of the Deadmines instance, there's a vendor that'll prove to be very handy if you don't have a vendor mount. When you go to run this dungeon, you're going to want to make sure you have as much bag space as possible, because you will get a lot of stuff out of this dungeon. These are all survivors of Edwin Van Cleef's crew. Even though he has been killed, his daughter now runs the Defias Brotherhood. They are building a Defias juggernaut, so that way they can bring Stormwind to their knees. The Defias Brotherhood is a group of assassins, thieves, and pirates that are hostile to the Alliance. They dwell in the rural areas of the Kingdom of Stormwind, mostly of that of Elwyn and Westfall. Both of these areas are not easily protected by the Stormwind army. Raised by the Horde in the First War, Stormwind City required a small army of engineers and artisans in order to begin a massive program of reconstruction. After restoring the city to its former glory, the workers gathered outside Stormwind Keep to collect payment for their services. This came as a surprise to the nobility of the city, who had assumed that the work was being done as a matter of civic pride. Whether they were unable or simply unwilling to proffer payment, they immediately ordered the workers exiled from the city. With only the tools in their hands and the clothes on their backs, the workers were forced out of Stormwind and into Elwyn Forest. The shocked and forlorn workers were rallied by engineer Edwin Van Cleef and became bandits, collecting their payment on travelers at the time. Marking themselves with a tattoo of a cog on their right hand, the bandits declared that the machine will not run smoothly if the parts go renegade to each waylaid traveler. Banditry and thievery quickly became a way of life for these exiles, banding together under Van Cleef's leadership as the Defias Brotherhood. Over the years, the ranks of the Brotherhood have been bolstered by the skilled, the desperate, and the outcast, and now those marked with the cog tattoo signifying membership number in the hundreds. In Elwyn Forest and the area around Stormwind, the Brotherhood has mastered the art of ambush, and despite protection by the Stormwind City Guard, few caravans get through the woods unhindered. The Guard's inability and unwillingness to pursue the Brotherhood into Westfall has led the farmers and villagers in the area to form the People's Militia in an attempt to stave off the Brotherhood's constant looting. Lacking any formal military training, the outcasts who formed the Defias Brotherhood might have been forcibly disbanded long ago if it were not for the skilled craftsmen and tinkerers who made up its founding membership. These founders have worked together to give members of the Brotherhood access to an array of mechanical devices and weapons ranging from climbing equipment and smoke bombs to automatic crossbows and wagon traps. When the Defias Brotherhood advanced into Westfall, the goblins of the areas were upset by both the Brotherhood's raids on the merchant trains that supplied their shops and by the Brotherhood's refusal to sell their inventions at goblin merchant outposts. After repeated attempts by the goblins at negotiations, they were met by an increased attacks on their suppliers by the Brotherhood. The merchants hired a group of mercenaries to hunt the bandits. This hunt resulted in the only major battle fought by the Brotherhood, and led to the capture of all goblins in Westfall by the renegade bandits. Chained together, they were marched south into the Deadmines and put under the command of Edwin Van Cleef. Bron warns fellow travelers to make sure that their coins are not scratched. This is due to the Defias Brotherhood taking a liking to marring the face of the king to produce what are known as cross-eyed coins. These coins have been declared illegal. As the true leadership of the Defias, it is intriguing to note that the organization endures and indeed proceeds to some of its more dangerous plots well after the death of Van Cleef, who was supposed to be in charge. While it is possible that his underlings might have merely stepped up to fill his role, another possibility is that Van Cleef was never totally in control, even while alive, and that he was, in fact, being manipulated by a higher power. It is clear that the Defias, for all their hatred of the Stormwind House of Nobles, nonetheless have considerable ties to certain nobles. Perhaps someone with influence in the House of Nobles is directing the Defias, someone who has already manipulates much of Stormwind on her own. For those of you who are curious, I got the lore from the WoWWiki webpage. Go ahead and look it up. I searched the Defias Brotherhood and was reading through there. There's a lot of info that I skipped and didn't cover in this video. Now back to the topic of making gold. This is a great instance to farm if you're low level. As I approached the 10 limit cap, I was quickly running out of space because I didn't want to mail off every item to my banker tune, so that way I could show you what all you can expect to get from this dungeon. Now for those that don't know, there are teleports in this dungeon that you can use to get back close to the beginning. I just would teleport towards the beginning, hit up that repair guide of vendor, and then start it all over. Now this part dealing with cookies seemed like it was on a timer, so you'd have to sit there and wait, and I noticed when he finally appeared, it looked like you had to run in the room so that way he would aggro. I had to have a little fun on this one just because he threw his food at you. If you're low level, that food is actually pretty deadly. Whether you're for the Horde, for the Alliance, or possibly even for the Defias Brotherhood, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more gold tips and tricks from Wezeljr. Thank you for watching.